So I got this story. So
Okay.
there's this couple, 6-year-old couple.
60?
60, 60,
Okay.
not 6.
Okay.
6-year-old couple.
Uh-huh.
They go for a spa, couple spa, go to relax, all that good stuff.
Okay. Like
And
together?
Together.
Okay.
And then it ends and they get separated, it's dark. He comes
Okay.
out stumbling out and then he just sees this woman in front of him.
Okay.
And then she's like, looks him in the eyes and like, you are divine.
Divine?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's married and he's like,
Okay.
he's courteous and he just kind of gets out of there.
Okay.
Escape.
Okay.
Joseph moment. And then, like, after hearing that story, it's like, wow, when I'm 60, I want to hear that.
Right.
But it just made me think about just like fitness and health
Yeah.
in relationships, you know,
Yeah.
because this guy, he runs,
Yeah.
he bikes,
Yeah.
he's even got his pastor into biking as well, just like, it's like a force of nature. And it's just like, we kind of think at 60,
Yeah.
you're done.
Right.
Like,
And that you're not really going to be in any kind of like, I guess, shape or attraction for somebody else to be like, to say you look divine.
Yeah.
Some people don't even get that in their 20s. I mean, it's true.
yeah.
It's true.
And like, one thing don't at me about this.
Oh gosh.
I've never liked it.
You're about to get us canceled.
I've never liked this whole like saying to women, "Oh, you're 25." Like,
Oh, you're 25?
yeah, like a woman who's past 25 saying that you're really 25. Like,
Why would you say that?
People do all the time. They joke about women who are older than 25, that they're 18 or 19 or 21, and I'm like,
I love being 30.
yeah. I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, it's like, why can't we just accept and love the ages that these women are at? Why do we have to kind of do this weird tango of
Right.
they're younger?
The thing is, like, if you're doing what you need to be doing, then you should be getting better. I mean, we know several people, I mean, unfortunately not a lot, but we know several people that as they're got older, like you see pictures of them in their 20s, and honestly, they were not even in, like, I mean, they were okay, but they're not in the best shape.
Yeah.
And like really their 30s, their 40s, they actually look better. You know, like the whole like fine wine, like you're getting better. But I think that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Like you should be getting better, not worse. And like not like live a life where you don't feel like you need to hide your age or hide anything about you, that you're secure and comfortable. Because I feel like fitness is not just about like, do you do sport or not?
Yeah.
Or are you like, do you have no kilos or no fat to lose?
Yeah.
I think it's, how do you feel? Like, do you feel like, are you like energized? Like, is your body working properly?
Yeah.
Are you able to do anything that you need to do on a weekly basis?
Yeah.
You know?
Like, because like we were watching recently Physical 100.
Yeah.
And like,
That was crazy.
you've got all kinds of body types.
It was crazy.
And there's that one scene that you remember where there's this woman holding a rope
Oh, that was incredible.
of her own bust. Like, it's like 20 kg, maybe more than her own.
Oh, so heavy. Yeah, because they added weight, no?
And there's all these other hulking guys.
Like huge guys.
And they're dropping it.
Yeah.
And she just like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I'm not going to drop this.
And she's not only like, I mean, she's in amazing shape. I mean, these people are like the best of the best. But like, she's not only a woman and like, but she's petite.
Yeah.
Like she looks petite.
Because there was some She-Hulk women there.
There were some women that were like, exactly. She's
Like-
one of the smallest ones really of them.
There was one woman who came like first day and she's like doing one push-up.
With an arm, yeah.
The guy,
Yeah.
she wasn't one of those.
Yeah.
You can maybe, she works out, but it's not like the extreme obvious.
Yeah.
Like you're popping out of your...
That was incredible.
And so, like the fitness is like, it's not just like the body part, it's like the mind.
Yeah.
And thinking about that, like that long-term goals for us and like that sense of security in our own personality, our own perception of ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, that was amazing that he got to hear that at 60.
Yeah.
Like you said, not everyone hears it.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Ever.
And it's like...
Yeah.
Then also we joking later on, like, does his wife say that to him, you know? And so it's like...
Good question.
Why so many things happen is that sometimes we don't appreciate what we have in front of us, and we overvalue things outside of us. And so like sometimes you hear about like these affairs, and like the person you're having an affair with is not necessarily more physically attractive than the person they already have.
Right.
It's just that it's this like, or forbidden fruit, or just like this kind of newness. And like with marriage and like relationships, it's like the constant journey of seeing something new in something that's not new.
Yeah, that's true. That's very interesting.
And so
say that again.
The constant journey of seeing something new in something that's not new.
Yeah.
And
so true.
And that's what you're meant to be doing. And so with like the fitness part, like it's like there's different body types. Everyone thinks it's just the same kind of body type. But like there's cyclists who have a different body type who are totally fit. There's
or like long distance runners and sprint runners
and wrestlers, like they all have their kind of fitness. Like, can you carry your bags from the shop without struggling?
And that's what I was thinking, because it's like I feel like a lot of people feel like, oh, if I'm gonna do sport or I'm gonna get into fitness, then it's like I'm gonna be this like sporty person, or like now I'm like I do it so I can go to competitions and bodybuild and stuff. You know what I mean? If that's what you enjoy, that's great. But I think a lot of people don't understand that like fitness plays such a role in like everyday stuff, like carrying your groceries, or like for women, like childbirth and pregnancy are very hard on your body. I mean, if you're healthy, they're good, but like it's a process that your body goes through that's really hard. And if you're not in shape and in a healthy fitness routine, that can be really hard to do. Like running around your children, you know, like, or taking them, like walking, like we live in Barcelona, we walk everywhere. Like if you're not able to do some of these things, it's not just affecting your like popularity of like, oh, I'm really cool at the gym, or like I play this sport, but it's like, this is affecting your everyday life. Like you're struggling to do things that you should be able to do, no problem, you know?
And like we look at the people who have made the goals that we think are goals. And then we never really look into their motivations. Or or their journey. And we just see their destination, like, oh, you're there now. That's it. Not like it was obviously a journey. There's obviously some motivations, because like people like The Rock, like people like, oh, The Rock is like, but it's like, it's not just like he's strong, but he's determined. Because those weights are not just lighter because you're stronger. Like 100 kg weighs 100 kg. And so, or 200 kg or whatever. And so you have to have like some mental fortitude to be doing those things. And like and I think that's the thing people think is hard, is like moving my life around this. And it's like, your life will move around it whether you like it or not. And it's like, it depends in what direction you are moving it. And are you moving it, or is someone else moving it? Because it's going to move. Like stairs, like that's becomes like the worst enemy for when people get older. Stairs. And how many older people will fall down and hurt themselves, or have to live at the bottom floor of the house because they can't go up the stairs. And so there's the practical nature. Like if you do well now, just like we think with money, when it gets to the rainy days, you can cash in on the stuff you've done before.
And so I think even things like stretching, because I feel like people think fitness is only like a sport or going to the gym.
Man, I need to stretch way more.
But we both need to. And honestly, the seasons that I've stretched most, I mean, I felt so much better. Like waking up in the morning and spending 5 to 10 minutes stretching, and 5 to 10 minutes stretching at night. Like, you're like, oh, I have to stretch. But then after you do it, you just feel so much better. It's not just because I have a job that I need to be flexible or something, but it's like, you release the tension. You feel more comfortable, especially if you have to walk or whatever that day. Like I feel a big difference. And so things like that, even resting, the resting time. Both sleeping and like resting, meaning like not when you're not working out. I think it's so important, and we just don't do a lot of those things well at all. Our diet. Oh my gosh.
And I think like when your priorities are in place. And I think with like fitness is that there's so much baggage and shame with it that the real goal gets like either put on a plateau or it gets like obscured behind all of this in between stuff. Like, honestly, in regards to like the fitness stuff, it's like, it's not for the vanity. You can do it for vanity, but it's really for the function. And like when you're in that healthy place, living your life, there's things that revolve around it. Like the things that you like to do as your hobbies, your life revolves around those kind of things. Like if you're a painter and you have no paint in your house, never any paintbrushes, you never around any canvases, you're just like,
you're not gonna paint.
And so then with the fitness stuff, it's like, oh, your health journey, you'll be doing those things like drinking water. Like before, I used to never drink water.
That's true. Drinking water is huge.
You used to never drink it. I was like, this is the worst thing to drink. Like, put some sugar in that. Like, just why am I drinking?
You love sugar.
This thing. And it's like, and the problem wasn't the water. The problem was myself. And it's kind of hard when you go on this journey. And people may be like, oh, you're not qualified to talk about it because like you're not in that space anymore. And it's like, but I'm not in that space anymore because I really had to look at myself being in that space. Like, why?
But we've all been in that space, so we are qualified to talk about it.
I know, but like, it can happen where like once you get out of a certain space, like, oh, you're no longer married. Like, you're married now. You can no longer be around singles. That, yes, there's some people who are like that, but like, why? Like, part of my motivation, which people don't really ask, they're just like, you're just doing it, is that you kind of remember where you were and where you wanted to be. Like, why didn't I like water, this essential thing for my life? Why did I think this was not good enough? The thing that God made and was like, you need this. It's part of your
body, literally.
And it's like, nah, I need something that has so much sugar in it. That if I knew how much sugar in it, I would never give it to anybody. Like Coke has that crazy amount of sugar.
Bad habits pile up. So like when you start getting healthier, it's like you start realizing how many things you're not doing that are connected. Like most of us, when we weren't working out, we also weren't drinking enough water. We also weren't like sometimes even walking. We also weren't eating well.
Not stretching.
Also not sleeping well, not stretching. So it's like, it's almost like when you go towards unhealthiness, you start doing more of the unhealthy things. And when you start going towards healthiness, you realize, oh, I also have to drink water. Oh, I also have to, like, it's almost like, because it's not just about the one thing, it's about wanting to be healthy. And so you start looking at other areas of your life and you start thinking, okay, what else could I improve to make me healthier, to feel healthier?
And I really want to move the shame away from it, because it's like this idea of shame where people are like, because of wherever they are, the shame is like, that's more important than that you can just change. It's the same when you're having financial issues. Like, it could be like, oh, you're just your financial issues, rather than, okay, you're here, but this thing can change. And doesn't matter how far back it is. It can change. People who've been in incredible debt who've changed. People who've been incredibly unfit who've changed. There's people who are literally in the Olympics running blind. And they're ripped.
Incredible.
Like, you can't even see the way that you're pushing.
Exactly. You don't even get to enjoy visually your body.
And so like we need to get away from this shame.
I agree with you, but I would say shame for sure not. Be a shame. But I think it does humble you. And that's not a bad thing. I think like to admit that you're not healthy and to admit that you're not in the place that you should be, not for likes and Instagram pictures, but for your health, for the longevity of your life and for the quality of your life, because that's the whole point, is quality and longevity of life. So you have to humble yourself to admit, I'm not where I should be. I mean, at 25, I had worked out for 25 years. I have to humble myself and say, that's not good. That's not good enough. I have to change. And it was hard. And creating new habits at 25 is much harder than when you're young. And you have to humble yourself and go to the gym at 6 a.m. and everybody knows what they're doing. And you're like, I have no idea how any of these machines work. And you have to sometimes ask for help or ask for advice or ask, how does this work? And so it is a humbling process, but I think it's good because we need to do that process because there will be other areas of our lives that we can't believe that we arrived. You know, we're constantly learning. So if we don't learn to humble ourselves and say, you know what, yes, I've reached this level, but I'm still working towards this, you know?
And the thing is that everywhere in our life, everything that we know, every single thing, at one point we didn't know it.
Exactly.
We didn't even know our own names. We didn't even know how
to say words.
Scratch our own nose. We had to break those barriers.
Yeah.
And then this is just another barrier of other barriers to break. And like the thing is that there are people who will come alongside you, that will help.
Yeah.
It's like first it's like looking at ourselves. And even when you feel like you've made it in some ways, there's still things like, hey, sometimes some people are like, you see them, they're like buff in the gym, but they can't run. Like, and so like the barrier they have is cardio. And that now they have to humble themselves and go for be a baby and go for those baby steps to go get cardio.
I think that was one of my favorite parts of Physical 100. And I think we talked a little bit about it. I mean, there were a lot of really good things, but one of the cool things about it for me was that people assumed that just because the first day, just because somebody else looked bigger or looked stronger or even was stronger.
I'm the strongest man in Korea.
That they were gonna win, exactly. Like they were gonna be the last man standing. And the different things that I needed to do, by the way, we highly recommend the show, it's really cool. The different things I needed to do were not always just about strength. There was endurance, there was flexibility, there was, what did you say?
Speed.
Yeah, speed. Like, it's all different kinds of things. And so a lot of them were dropping like flies. Because, not because they weren't strong, but because they couldn't run for 2 seconds. So health doesn't just mean go crazy in the gym and just get muscles. You're still not healthy. If you can walk 10 blocks to go pick up your friend from the movies, like, you're still not healthy. It doesn't matter how many muscles you have.
And I want to say this because it's like a holistic, I feel like it's a health journey. Because you also have the whole idea of like, hey, are you stretching correctly? Are you getting the right kind of nutrients you need? Like, are you
the vitamins, proteins.
Like even like moisturizing, all these things. It's a holistic.
Oh gosh, you're calling me out.
Of trying to be in a certain place. And you can be hitting the mark in so many other places and missing it. And you can hide behind that, like, hey, I'm hitting all of this. Or you can hide, like, hey, I'm not hitting all of this, and just make excuses for yourself. And I
think that I did for so long. And I feel like it's easy to get into that cycle of like, I feel like for so long, and I was also bullied. So I was just kind of like, well, I guess that's just my lot in life. Like, I'm unhealthy, I'm out of shape, I don't like myself, I'm super insecure. And so I guess I just have to deal with it the rest of my life.
Always be like that.
You know? And you just kind of get on that cycle and you can be there the rest of your life.
Because I remember like, I got invited to go to a gym for a 3-day pass. This is like, 2010, 2011.
I can imagine a time where you didn't work out.
2010, 2011. And I was like, no, I don't need to go to the gym. You don't need to go to the gym if you're smart. And so that was a ridiculous take. But yeah, I was like, I don't need to go to the gym. I have. And
you are very smart.
And so I went and I was like, you're like, cool. You look at the weight and you're like, you know what, I'm a grown man. And you're like.
And you can't.
You pick it up.
It humbles you. Yeah.
And you're like, wait, I'm at 5 kg?
Yeah.
And I'm struggling with 5 kg. And it's like, no, I'm never coming back to this place. But
you have to break through that humbling moment. Because it's so easy when you go on a run with some friends, the first time you go on a run and you have to stop every block because you can't run a whole block, even jog a whole block. It's very humbling. But you have to get past that.
And you look around and you see people like, oh, I would love to be at this space. And you're like, man, I'm at 5 kg. And like your ego gets up there and it's like, hey, this ain't worth it.
And the progress at the beginning is really slow. So for a while, you're not gonna see much change. You're gonna be really tired, really sore no matter how much you stretch, and
doing baby weights.
Just feel like nothing is changing.
And
it takes a minute.
I watched Creed yesterday, and yesterday when this was shot.
Which one?
Creed 3, okay. And like those guys were pumped. I was watching it, I was like, man.
Pumped, like the guys watching it with you or the guys in the movie?
Guys in the movie, like they were like, abs were popping and everything. I was like, man, I need to go hard in the gym tomorrow. But when I was watching it, just like the dedication that they had, like for this one goal, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, dedication in the sense to get punched in the face. Like it was like,
right,
it's
exactly.
a weird dedication to have. But one thing I just saw was just like the mindset that they had. Like people saw the bodies or whatever, but it's the mindset, like, cause they were doing that stuff when nobody was watching.
Right.
And it's like all of this stuff is like, it's the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like it's when no one's watching, no one's supporting you, because that's what happens in that journey. You go from people being like, wow.
Yeah.
But before that, they weren't supporting you.
Yeah.
They weren't driving you to the
Sometimes
gym.
they were bullying you.
Sometimes they were bullying you. They weren't checking up on you. They weren't motivating you. Like this was a solo thing.
Honestly, nobody necessarily motivated me.
Yeah.
Like when I started, the people, as I was kind of going, people were like, oh, that's really cool that you're doing this, so good. But like nobody was really like keeping me accountable. Nobody was like, so it was hard. It was hard to start like that, you know? But like the same thing that we said, like not being ashamed, but also you can take everything to motivate you instead of shame you.
Exactly.
Like you're watching Creed and you're like, okay, well, I'm not like those guys. Instead of feeling ashamed of yourself, you're like, I need to do whatever I need to do. I'm excited to do what I need to do to look like that, you know?
And the thing, I was watching Men's Health before that, and I saw his workout plan, and it's like, oh, there's these things that I'm not doing.
Michael B. Jordan?
No, the other guy, Jonathan Majors. Okay. But the thing with this is that sometimes we gotta be honest and be like, hey, I'm jealous of somebody else. I'm not actually humble. I'm actually a proud person. That's why I'm in the space that I'm in.
Right.
I would rather live in my limitations than get outside of it.
Yeah.
And that may seem a bit harsh, but like sometimes we're at that space.
Yeah.
Like I want to be a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
And once we get over that, or I don't want to, like I'm insecure and I don't want people to laugh at me, or I don't be a grown man in the gym trying to bicep curl 1 kg because I don't have the strength yet. And then we just gotta admit that and like live with it, but we don't. And then we hide in these kind of shadows. Because part of the film, without spoilers, is that this guy wants to be world champion, but he doesn't want to do it the long route of work his way up. He wants to get a shortcut and be like, hey, you've got the connections, you owe me, get me that fight.
Yeah.
And a lot of us want to do that sometimes, and like humbling ourselves to be like, hey, do I want it or do I want to maintain it? And who are we doing it for, like the bigger picture?
I was gonna say, because it can be very selfish too. And when we're not an island, we don't live by ourselves. And I feel like we're probably gonna touch this point in most of our episodes, but everything we do affects other people.
Yeah.
Whether you see it or not. Even if you're single, you have friends, you have parents, you know, you have siblings. And so, but especially like when it comes to couples and families, like it's selfish if I don't make sure that I'm healthy and in my best state, because I'm not being healthy for you. I'm not like making sure that I'm in my best state to be able to spend time with you, do things for you, serve you, and live a long life to spend with you, and also our children. Like if I'm not healthy, pregnancy and childbirth is going to be really hard. You know, chasing around a toddler, or you know, like all the stages of the kids. And so I think it's very selfish of us also when we choose to stay kind of like put, you know, and not really work on it.
Yeah, because like hiding our insecurities doesn't change them.
Right.
And like it's so easy to do, and like it's opening ourselves up emotionally to be able to address so many things, like why am I not doing this?
Right.
And what would I need to do to be different? Because I can't give spoilers for the film because like you should go out and watch it, but like these emotional traumas, without addressing them, go somewhere, and having a bigger cause, like doing this for your family could be a great motivator for you to do something.
That's true.
Doing this for people you care about, doing this so that you're not becoming a burden.
Yeah.
Like there has to be some kind of motivation.
Yeah.
Because the check is gonna come in eventually. There's no, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't push it off and like, there's like the check came in. There's nothing I could do about it. I know there was an accident. Cool. People will fine with it. But like when it's like, hey, I knew the check was coming and I just kept pushing it off.
Yeah.
So that someone else would deal with it.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and like sometimes it's like the first thing you need to do is not really go to the gym. The first thing you need to do is just sit with yourself or talk to God, talk to a mentor or something. Just be like, hey, like give me a real reflection of myself and help me work through those things, because there's things in my way, and if I move them out the way, I could be a better person or a different person. And like in closing, you don't do it for this, but your relationships will change a lot the healthier you get. And like physically, of course, like your wife will change overnight if you go physically in shape. That they don't want to talk about that, but that does happen. She will change overnight. But there's an emotional part of you that kind of changes when you address this.
Yeah.
And it's one of the biggest battles that you fight.
Yeah.
But if you win that war, how many people will be benefiting from that would be amazing.
I was telling one of our friends at church yesterday. It was a Monday today. I was telling him, I was like, man, we were talking about his relationship and how his ex-girlfriend, it wasn't like a core value of hers, like fitness and health, and how much of a core value of his it was. And so that was putting pressure and you know, issues in the relationship. And I told him, I said, I went through a hard season since COVID, really, of not having the consistency, of losing the habit and just really trying to get back and not really there, and the motivation wasn't there. And so it's been a dry spell for many reasons. But recently, like let's say like a month, I've been able to come back to the habit, and I've already seen how it's changed how I feel, but not only how I feel, how I relate to you, like even our intimacy, like the way I relate with friends, because now I'm like, oh, let's go on around, let's do this. So it's like, it really does affect all of you, and it really makes you feel better in the way you perceive yourself and how you walk around, being more secure of yourself as well. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well,
thank you for joining us.
Yep.
We will see you soon.
See you soon.